30 days ago, I made a bet with myself 300 English chunks versus 600 English words. Same amount of study time, same effort. 30 days. Which one would make me more fluent? I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified this wouldn't work. But what happened to my brain in those 30 days, I still can't believe it. This is real data. This is my actual experience. And if you're stuck learning English right now, this might change everything for you too. Let me show you what happened. Okay, so here's how I set this up. I split my practice into two parts, every single day for 30 days. Morning session, 300 chunks. Things like I've been thinking. Let me know. Sounds like a plan. Short, natural, the way Americans actually speak. Evening session, 600 individual words. Verbs, nouns, adjectives. The traditional way. The way textbooks tell you to learn. 1 hour each session, so 2 hours total per day. Completely fair comparison. And I tracked everything. How fast I could speak. How many times I hesitated. How confident I felt. Even how my brain felt after each session. I know that sounds weird, but you'll see what I mean. Day one was honestly terrible. I sat down with my list of 300 chunks, and I thought, this is it? Just 300? It felt too simple. Like I wasn't learning enough. Like I was wasting time. The 600 words felt more impressive. Longer lists, thicker notebooks. It looked like real studying. But I promised myself 30 days, no matter what. So I kept going. Day 3. Something small happened. I was texting a friend, and without thinking, I wrote, "Sounds good." Not "it sounds good to me." Not "yes, that is acceptable." Just "sounds good." A chunk, and it felt automatic. I didn't translate. I didn't construct the sentence. It just came out. That's when I realized, oh, this might actually work. Day 7. I had my first real test. I ran into an American at a coffee shop, and we started talking. And here's what happened. When I used the chunks, I spoke faster, smoother, no hesitation. But when I tried to use the words I'd been memorizing, my brain froze. I'd think, okay, I know the word for happy and the word for very, so I'll say I am very happy. By the time I finished thinking, the conversation had moved on. The chunks, they just flowed. I'm so happy. Boom. Done. No thinking. That's when I knew I was onto something. Day 15. Halfway point. I decided to record myself. I did 2 speaking tests, one using chunks, one using individual words. I timed both. I counted my pauses. I measured my mistakes. The results? Not even close. With chunks, I spoke for 2 minutes straight, only 3 pauses, zero grammar mistakes, with words. I spoke for 2 minutes, 27 pauses, 8 grammar mistakes, and I sounded like a robot. I'm not exaggerating. I listened back and I couldn't believe it was the same person. The chunk version of me sounded fluent. The word version sounded stuck. Day 20. I hit a wall. I was tired. I was doubting. I thought, maybe I should just quit and go back to normal studying. Because here's the truth. Learning chunks is boring at first. It doesn't feel like you're learning. It feels like you're just repeating phrases, like a parrot. But I remembered day 7, the coffee shop, how natural it felt. So I pushed through. And day 21, everything clicked. I was watching a Netflix show in English, no subtitles, and I understood everything. Not because I translated, but because my brain was thinking in chunks. I can't believe that makes sense. What are you talking about? I heard these chunks and I just knew what they meant. I didn't break them apart. I didn't analyze, I just understood. Like magic. Day 25. I did something crazy. I went to a language exchange meetup with actual native speakers. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel nervous because I wasn't trying to build sentences anymore. I was just using chunks. Someone asked me, "How long have you been learning English?" And I said, "I've been at it for a while. I've been at it for a while." A perfect chunk, natural, confident, fluent. They thought I'd lived in America. I almost cried. Day 30, final test. I recorded myself again. Same 2-minute speaking test. But this time, just chunks. No words. And I'm going to be honest with you, I watched it back and I got emotional. Because the person speaking sounded completely different from the person 30 days ago. Faster, smoother, more natural, more confident. My brain had literally rewired itself. Here's what I learned. And this is the part that changed everything for me. Your brain doesn't want to learn individual words. It wants patterns. When you learn happy, your brain stores it in one place. When you learn very, it stores it somewhere else. When you try to speak, your brain has to find both words, combine them, check the grammar, and then speak. That's 4 steps, 4 slow steps. But when you learn "I'm so happy" as one chunk, your brain stores it as one pattern, one thought, one sound, one movement of your mouth. When you speak, your brain just plays the pattern. No thinking, no translating, no grammar checking, just flow. That's why Americans speak fast. That's why they don't think about grammar. That's why they sound natural. They think in chunks. And after 30 days, so did I. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what about the 600 words? Did you just waste that time? Honestly, kind of. The words helped me understand more English when I read or listened, but they didn't help me speak. Because speaking isn't about knowing words, it's about using patterns, chunks. And here's the crazy part. By the end of 30 days, I actually knew more words from learning chunks. Because each chunk contains multiple words, but you learn them together, in context, naturally. I've been thinking is one chunk, but it teaches you I've been and thinking all at once. So you're learning words faster, but in a way that actually works when you speak. It's like the best of both worlds. So what's my final conclusion after 30 days? If you want to understand English, learn words. If you want to speak English, learn chunks. If you want to be fluent, if you want to think in English, if you want to sound like a native, chunks are the only way. I tested it. I measured it. I lived it for 30 days and I'm never going back. My brain changed. My English changed. My confidence changed. Everything changed. And if you're sitting there right now, stuck at the same level for months or years, making the same mistakes, feeling frustrated, I want you to try something. For the next 7 days, just 7 days, learn 10 chunks per day. Not words, chunks. How's it going? I was thinking. Let me know. That makes sense. Just 10 per day. Use them. Repeat them. Think in them. And I promise you, by day 7, you'll feel the difference. Your brain will start to shift. And if you do, come back to this video and comment day 7 done. I'll be here. I'll reply to every single one. Because I want to see how many of you actually do this. This isn't theory. This isn't some guru advice. This is what I did, and it worked. So if you're ready, if you're serious, if you want your English to actually change, start today. 10 chunks. 7 days. That's it. And then tell me what happens. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want more real experiments like this. I'll see you in the next one.